Okay, in this video, we're going to talk about earning money and the different ways that employers pay wages or calculate wages, and it really depends on the type of job. Okay, so the first one we've got here is salaries. And a salary is usually quoted as an annual amount. And so it's a fixed amount, and it's divided into a number of payments, and it tends to not change. If you work an extra overtime hours, that's not going to be reflected in your salary. Your salary is just like a fixed annual amount, and you get the same for every payment. It's not to say that this can change from year to year, but once your salary is agreed on, you essentially receive a fixed amount of wages or payment at the end of every pay cycle. Okay, the next type of way that an employer can pay you is wages. And this is usually like a weekly or fortnightly amount, associated with like manual positions. And this is the type of job that is calculated at an hourly rate. So a lot of jobs. So you work a certain amount of hours, and then you get paid for that many hours. This can also include overtime, being paid at a slightly larger rate, and we'll do some calculations like that along the way. The next category is called fees. I like to think of that as like commission, or I think the term that's common nowadays is the gig economy. So this could be like a musician or an artist doing a one-off commission for a one-off fee. You could also think of doctors and dentists. You go to the dentist, not until they have a look in your mouth do they go, oh, you need root canal surgery. And then you make a booking, and they earn that money for that one operation that they do on you. So I'm just going to say, spell it. I'm a maths teacher. So I used to have a job like this as a musician. People would phone me up and say, are you the guy that plays the bagpipes? And I go, yep. And they'd say, I want bagpipes at my wedding. Can I book you? So that's like a one-off gig economy. Even Uber comes into that. They drive around and they look at their phone, and they wait for someone to pop up. And especially now that we have the internet, gig economy type earnings is becoming more and more common. Okay, so the next one I've got here is casual rates. So this is sort of like wages, except when you have a job that's just straight up wages, you would be guaranteed a certain amount of hours every week. Whereas casual, they tend to earn a higher hourly rate, but they are not guaranteed any particular amount of hours. So some weeks they might get 1 day's work, the next week they might get 3 days work, but there's no guarantee. It's usually for temporary employees, and because they don't get as many and they tend to be needed at a short notice, that's why they get a larger hourly rate. Okay, so piecework. Let's call it that. So this is a situation where I should write something next to this. Low hours, dollar rate. Let's just say that. So piecework is where you have a job where you, for every fixed unit of work, you get paid a certain amount of money. So this one, especially in Tasmania, we have like fruit picking, and that would work in a sense where once you picked a whole tub full of apples, you'd get paid a fixed amount of money. And if you pick 10 tubs of apples, you'd get 10 lots of that amount of money. So this is paid according to items produced. It doesn't matter how long you work. If you work faster, you're going to produce more items and get paid more money for that time. Okay, I don't want to confuse this one with the next one, which I'm going to call commission. And so this is like one off job. Whereas commission is like the amount of money that, say, salespeople earn. They can get paid what we call a retainer, which is a basic amount, and then they would get a percentage of all the sales that they make for the company. So the better salesmen they are, the more money they can earn. So this is sales. So that could be telemarketers or car salesmen or anyone that works in those kind of businesses. For example, white goods, you go to a shop that sells fridges and freezers. Those people that work there are trying to sell as many things as they can to get over a certain threshold, and then they would get a bonus for making more sales. Percent of sales, and sometimes plus a retainer. And the retainer is like, sometimes it might be a low week, you don't make any sales, and this would be like your basic minimum wage. Okay, so there's a whole lot of different ways to earn money. I'm just going to rub that out, and we'll have a look at a few different calculations for some of these different ways of earning. Okay, so here's some examples. This first one, which is just this top bit here. Okay, so here's the situation. Talia picks blueberries during her summer holidays, for which she's paid $2.20 per kilogram. Find her wages if she picks 32 kilograms on Monday, 35 Tuesday, 43, 21, 37, 40, and then nothing. So this is an example of piecework. So all you really have to do is add up all these amounts, which I've already done. So total picked is 208 kilograms. And then if she gets paid $2.20 per kilogram, we're just going to multiply by $2.20 for the total she would receive. $457.60. Not bad for a week's blueberry picking. Okay, so that's an example of piecework where we're just adding up how many things are done and multiplying by the price per, or the wages per thing. Okay, that's really all there is to say about that. Okay, in this next example, so I've sort of started to set it up. Mike is paid $12.80 an hour for casual bakery work. He's paid penalty rates of time and a half for working more than 8 hours on any day, and time and a half for work on Saturday. He's also paid double time for any work done on a Sunday. Find his earnings on a week when he works the following hours. So we've got these many hours, and we need to calculate his wages. So first of all, I'm going to fill out this little bit of the table. So we won't worry about how many hours just yet. So question says he gets paid $12.80 an hour. So that's what our rate is. So I'm just going to write that 3 times. Now this term, what we're saying, the load, is how many times the rate is actually earning. So normal time, that just means he's getting this much per hour, so the load is just 1. Sounds silly, but once we get to time and a half, for however many hours he does, he gets paid 1 plus another half of this. So the load for time and a half is 1.5, and it just scales this up so that he's earning a greater hourly wage for the time and a half hours. And of course, for double time, we're going to multiply the rate by 2. Okay, so let's work out the hours. So first of all, well, let's do double time because that's just Sunday. So he's done 4 hours at double time, but also don't forget. Right, for time and a half, question said that he gets time and a half for Saturday hours plus any hours over $8. Any day worked over 8 hours. Okay, so we've only got Friday, which this is 8 plus an extra 4. So on that Friday, he would get normal regular pay for 8 hours, and then the 4 extra hours he'd get double time. So the total time and a half hours is this 4 plus the 3 from Saturday, 7. And then we'll just add up the rest. So we've got 8, 19, 15 hours. So he's done 15 hours at normal time, 7 hours at time and a half, and 4 hours at double time. So now we just calculate each of these separately, and then we'll add them up. So $192. $40. $40. So in total, this on the screen, 84. So in total, he's earned $428.80. But the important thing is working out the loading, working out how many hours at each level, and doing all those calculations separately. Something worth mentioning on these types of questions is sometimes the questions are phrased weird. They say a person normally works a 40-hour week and then they do so many hours overtime, at time and a half, and so many hours double time. And quite often people will subtract hours of overtime from the number of normal hours. Don't do that. Just if it says these are the normal hours, then overtime is extra on top of the normal. Okay. This, I think we've got one more example. And this involves commission. Okay, as a fashion consultant, Kirsten is paid a weekly retainer of $120 plus 10% commission of sales. Okay, so let's just write this down. Okay. $120, so that's the retainer. Plus 10% sales. Okay, so part A. How much is she paid for a week in which she makes $3,680 of sales? Sales 0. So how much does she get paid? Okay, so we need to find out 10% of this and then just add on $120. So 3, 6, 8, 0. So 10%. 10% is a decimal is 0.1. And essentially we're just dividing this by 10. So this is $368. So that's the 10%. And then we're going to add on the retainer. So her total is $488 for that week. Pretty simple, but these sales commission questions normally have a part B. Okay, so part B, we can fit this in. The company decides to introduce a new pay scheme where employees are paid the same $120 retainer. So let's just write this down. So we've still got the $120 retainer plus 15% commission. So instead of 10%, it's 15%, but only on sales over $800. So plus 15% of sales over $800. Would Kirsten be better off or worse off with the new pay rate? So we're still going to stick with the same weekly sales. And so this bit it doesn't change, this bit will. So what we need to first of all do is work out how many dollars worth of sales Kirsten made over $800. So we're just going to take this away from the amount of sales. Take away 800. 280. So this is the amount of sales over 800, and then we want to find 15% of this. So 2880 times 0.5. through the 2. Okay, so I'm just going to change to blue now to do this whole thing. We've got $120 plus this is 15% of sales over $800. So add that on. And the total is, so comparing this amount to that amount, we would finally say better off with New Deal. And that's based on this amount of sales. So there will be a certain amount of sales where she's worse off. If she makes less than $800 worth of sales, she only gets the retainer. Okay, so that's where I'm going to leave this video.